Yo, it's Marty VR, and today we're going to be talking about the PSVR 2 and whether it's good for PC or not. Now, there's been a lot of speculation over the past really few weeks to months, and honestly, all these videos before, when it was a little bit more of a hot topic, but we're getting closer to the time that the PSVR 2 PC adapter is coming out. So it releases on August 7th, and there has been a Steam app made for the PSVR 2 on PC. So this is really real, and it's really about to happen really soon. And so let's talk whether the PSVR 2 is worth it for PC for you. Now, this video does cover people who are primarily PSVR 2 owners who are looking to get into PC, and PC VR owners who are looking to get the PSVR 2. So I cover both in this video. You know how I do. Now, if you guys don't know me, I'm Mardu VR. I am a big time PC VR enthusiast, man. I mean, I got the Big Screen Beyond. I got Valve Index base stations mounted to the wall. I even got a cable management pulley system that you can also get in the comments. It's personally the best VR to me. Now, to me personally, I love it. Does that mean I hate standalone? No. Does that mean I hate PSVR 2? Obviously not. But for me personally, I usually want to hop into my PC VR headset. So I really do this PC VR stuff. And honestly, I've seen a lot of very weird, and I feel like honestly just misinformed takes about the PSVR 2 being a good PC VR headset. So don't worry, Mardu got you. Let's get into reason one. So reason one that the PSVR 2 is a great PC VR headset is because of the price. The price is currently 349 euros in the UK, and there also was a sale and price cut for the PSVR 2 in the US about a month ago, probably a few weeks. Hey guys, Editor Dude here. Just a quick update on the price of the PSVR 2 in the US. There actually is a discount now for my US people. Came out after I started making this video, so just want to let you guys know right now. All right, back to the video. They're really gearing up for that PSVR 2 to PC push. So honestly, think about what headset you can get for that price with those specs right now on the market. Actually, you don't even have to think, I got you. Just hold on. First is the Quest 3. Now, the Quest 3 is currently about $500. Now, obviously, it's not a native PC VR experience. It does have a little bit of latency with the wireless streaming, but if you got good internet, it works really good and honestly held me down for a long time. Next is a DPVR E4. I did a review for this about a few months ago, and personally, I'd rather get a PSVR 2. The same. Next is the H3 Reverb G2, which is a really good headset for the price. A lot of sim racers, flight sims, and all type of people use it. And even some people use it for VR chat, but it's a great headset. Personally, I would put the PSVR 2 over it because I feel like the PSVR 2 has better tracking to me personally, but it's available. So the PSVR 2 is about 349 euros plus $60 US for the adapter. So honestly, that's not a bad deal. You really, with tax and all that stuff, probably about $450 for the whole package. That's really good for what you're trying to get into, especially with a headset with all the bells and whistles that the PSVR 2 has. Kind of hard to beat it. And if you're a person who's coming from PC and you have a PS5, you get a PSVR 2, you also get access to those PSVR 2 exclusives like Resident Evil 4, Resident Evil 8 in VR, Gran Turismo 7, a few other games. All right guys, so our second thing to talk about is the specs. Now I had to sit down for this because I made a chart of comparing the PSVR 2 in terms of specs to its competitors around the same price. First is the specs out of the PSVR 2. We're dealing with 2000 by 2040 in terms of resolution per eye, OLED lenses, which are pretty wide by the way, eye tracking, which is not enabled, but you do have foveated rendering, and that is from the PlayStation blog that we got announcing this coming to PC. You also have a 90 Hz by 120 Hz refresh rate, and base cost is $549. Now with the discount that's going on, I mentioned earlier in this video, it's about $350. The tracking is also inside out tracking, so you do not need base stations. That costs $150 to $200 depending on where you get it from. Now, my base station went out this week, and I'm not gonna lie, it hurt because I had to pay $150 to almost $200 for a base station. And I had to buy two because my other base station is very old. I think it's gonna go out pretty soon. Now, that's just me complaining, okay? Because it had nothing to do with the video. I just needed to vent about that, okay? Moving on. We also have an approximately 110 FOV, which is very wide because you can get really close to those lenses, and it's probably the best FOV I've experienced in a VR headset personally. Only thing that comes close that I've used is probably the Quest 3. Now, these other VR headsets, the Quest 3, the H3 Reverb G2, and the Pico 4, they kind of blow the PSVR 2 out of the water when it comes to resolution. Now, in terms of color, this is going to be a little bit different for these other headsets because now the PSVR 2 does have HDR, but it is disabled on PC as of right now. Now, does this mean that some of these features are never going to be enabled for PC VR? We don't know. Sony kind of doesn't explain much of anything, really. So we're going to figure it out as we go. But all these other headsets have LCD lenses, which really mean nothing, honestly, in this case, because the Quest 3 looks amazing. The HP Reverb G2 looks amazing from what I've heard. I've heard the Pico looks okay. Now, none of these other headsets have any type of eye tracking or foveated rendering, which is a really big thing for people who have weaker PCs or just want better performance in certain games. Now, me personally, I do like foveated rendering because it helps a lot. And you can tell on the PSVR 2 when games do not have foveated rendering because they look a lot and run a lot worse. Now let's talk about the price for all these other headsets. So as you guys know, the base Quest 3, which is the 128GB version, is $499. Now, the thing is with the PSVR 2 and the Quest 3, you have a lot of compression on the Quest 3 side. Quest 3 PC VR, even with good internet, there still can be some compression and artifacting and just kind of not a no latency experience. You can get it really low now, but in terms of just having general no latency is just not gonna happen with the Quest 3. Even if you are using a link cable, virtual desktop, Steam Link, or even the Oculus solution that they give out. That's why personally, I can't really compare these two headsets in terms of their PC VR experience, because most of the time people are streaming from the Quest 3, which like I said before, is not a bad thing, but can be a game changer depending on where you live. Now, in this case that we're talking about, the Wi-Fi speed doesn't really matter. You can have a decent speed internet and have Wi-Fi 6 and still get some pretty good connection, or you can buy peripherals online that kind of help you get that honed in connection for your Quest 3. So personally, it's kind of a thing of preference. Do you want no latency that we can assume from adapter and DisplayPort PC VR experience from the PSVR 2, or do you want more of a kind of, depending on your situation, more latency or even low latency experience with the Quest 3? Now, the HP Reverb G2 was another situation. Now, it's about $600, but the lenses and display on the HP Reverb G2 I've heard are amazing. And I've never used it before because obviously I'm a small channel. I've never been sponsored by HP. But, you know, I heard it's a good headset. Now, the resolution for that is 2160 by 2160, making it one of the highest ones on this list, and honestly one of the highest ones in general for this price point. It is also an LCD screen that has no eye tracking whatsoever, but most people who have HP Reverb G2s kind of have stronger PCs. The refresh rate is also locked to 90 Hertz, which isn't a bad thing. 90 Hertz is perfectly fine for all VR, to be honest with you. It also has inside-out tracking and approximately 114 degrees of field of view. So in terms of comparing it to the PSVR 2, the display resolution is a lot higher and the FOV is slightly wider. But for that price point, $599 versus $350, you know, you kind of have a toss-up there. So it's really depending on what you're looking for, because I know for sure that the PSVR 2 does have better tracking, because I've heard people use the HP Reverb G2 and they had issues with tracking. And that's because it's more of a sim racing headset, not so more of a, you know, swing around and do all types of stuff type headset. So personally, I would kind of base that upon what you want to do with your headset. Are you a sim racer? You want to sit down most of the time, play your VR, are you doing flight sim? Then personally, I would say the HP Reverb G2 might be the best for you. But if you like swinging around and stuff like that on Blade and Sorcery or even playing Contractors, I recommend a PSVR 2 because one is cheaper and two, you get way better tracking, because I barely lose tracking with those controllers. All right, and the last I said is the Pico 4. Now there's a Pico 4 Pro, but that is out of the price range of our conversation because I couldn't even find a price on it. So I'm assuming if this one is about $400, that one has to be higher than $400, obviously. It is an LCD lens type and also has no eye tracking. Has a 72 refresh rate and a 90 Hertz refresh rate also. Now, the price I found online for this headset was about $412, which is pretty good for, you know, what you're getting. It also has inside out tracking and has 105 degrees of FOV, which is making it some of the most narrow FOV on this list. Honestly, guys, I don't know much about Pico in terms of PC VR, but I never really hear anybody talk about it, which isn't really a good thing. So take that for what you will. The specs are the specs. So why did I just show you guys all this? Basically, I want to say that the PSVR 2, even at the prices at being $350, is a worthy competitor for the price. I showed you guys all the specs of all the headsets at around the same price, and it's pretty close. Obviously, there are headsets at the price that beat it out in resolution, but the PSVR 2 does compete in other places. Having that foveated rendering is really good because I know a lot of you guys do have weaker PCs. I hear it all the time in the comments. So having a weaker PC, foveated rendering helps a lot. And also having that wide FOV in the headset is really good. Trust me. Even with all my headsets, my Valve Index, my Quest Pro, my Quest 3, my Quest 2, Big Screen Beyond, my DPVR E4, with all my headsets, I feel like the PSVR 2 has the best FOV that I've ever used because you can get so close to the lenses. Now, not having the HDR is a big hit, but I feel like you can kind of make up with that in terms of software. And we don't know if Sony plans to add these things later on down the line. Let's move on. Now, a lot of the reason that the PSVR 2 is perfect for PC VR, and it's for people who are coming from the PS5 to PC. The games you get access to are amazing. There's a lot of games that are on the PSVR 2 that you can also get on PC, but there's also a lot of games on PC that you can't get on PSVR 2. Contractors is one. That game will hold a lot of y'all down who love first-person shooters for a long time. You also have something for the sim racers. So if you're a person who likes Gran Turismo 7, you got Assetto Corsa, Project Cars, you even have rally racing. There's a lot of different sim racing and even flight sim. There's flight sim also. And then we gotta talk about the cream of the crop, which is Half-Life Alyx. Everybody loves Half-Life Alyx. It's one of the best PC VR games of all time. Some people have it as the best PC VR game of all time. So you actually get to play it now and experience it in a really good looking headset. And for my social people out there, you get VR chat. VR chat on PC VR is totally different from Quest or anything else it's on. It's a actual smooth experience and really fun if you have an immersive setup. Now, if you have like a B haptic suit and you have the headset haptics enabled and you have, the tactosis on the arms, maybe even Vive trackers, you can get a really immersive PC VR chat experience, honestly, for a good price. But that's for my people who obviously are moving from PSVR 2 over to PC VR. But a lot of games. And lastly, just to kind of wrap this up in a nice big box with a bow on it, if this sells well on PC, this could add more support for the PSVR 2 on a PS5. For instance, Astro's Playroom. Now, that was a big debacle online. People kind of petitioning for the game to get put on the PSVR 2. Now, as a lot of you all know, and people bring up all the time, we don't know really how much the PSVR 2 has sold at this current point. Now, the fact Sony hasn't really released it, kind of telling. But if the actual numbers boost up a good bit amount, we can actually understand what type of support the PSVR 2 can get in the future. Because everything up to this point has been a big question mark. And honestly, as a person who likes the PSVR 2, it's a little weird, I'm not gonna lie. I honestly don't really get it. But I do think that if this sells well on PC, we can see some crazy things from Sony down the line, because they're gonna see the actual need to let us get stuff for the PSVR 2. And also, hopefully we can get controllers being sold, because to this day you can't buy controllers for the PSVR 2 for some reason. To this day I don't really get it. I don't know why, but it is what it is. I don't know. But I really do hope to see one day that Sony put their PSVR 2 games on PC, because I would love to play Resident Evil 4 with my 4090 at max graphics vibe, right? It'd just be amazing. But a lot of you content creators who were kind of dogging the PSVR 2 as a PC VR alternative, y'all are weird. I think a lot of them checks didn't clear for y'all, but I'm gonna spare y'all today. There's obviously always been a huge hate boner for the PSVR 2 in the VR community for some reason, but it's a great PC VR headset. I mean, either way you put it, on paper or in practice, when we actually get the adapter, it's just a good alternative. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure you go to the description below and get you some discounts on some goodies. Man, I got some really good stuff coming up in the future. I actually got a Big Screen Beyond review coming up on the channel, so make sure you go check this out, because this bad boy right here, this is him. This is him right here. I'm not gonna lie. I love this headset. I can't wait to tell you guys all about it. Make sure you get some prescription VR lenses for your PSVR 2 or your PC VR headsets, or even your Quest at vrrock.com and or vrwave.com, and use discount code MarduVR and save you some money, man. I just want to save you some money and make some too, you hear me? All right, so I hope you guys have a great day. Remember, it's people MarduVR, and remember, I'm just a dude with a VR headset. Peace.